What is up, peeps? Hope we're all doing well. I think we got a great debate out there for all of you. As one of the biggest streamers in the entire world, that being XQC, took to stream a few days back to argue with someone and then straight up said, you know what? Streaming is harder than a real job. We want to preface right away by saying it is very hard to compare streaming to any job out there, and we are not saying streaming is or is not harder than real jobs, because this is probably going to rile up a lot of people out there, but it does spark a great debate, which we just simply love having.
I think first we could maybe start it off even by saying, how do you classify hard in the workplace? So what I mean by that is you could think of, a nurse or a doctor. They have a very hard job, especially emotionally, mentally, like even physically, technically, because hours of surgery if you're a surgeon. But that is so extremely difficult.
Or someone who cleans out sewers every single day. Like, that's a hard job that I don't think anyone want to do.
Or a police officer.
That's also a very hard gig. Or you compare it to, like, if you're working a cash register for a fast food company, that maybe would not be seen as hard. It's boring, it's monotonous, but it's probably not hard. I think that's a great point to bring up. But beyond that, it also matters what is like a real job. When XQC says 9 to 5 job, what is a real job and how do you compare that to streaming? Before we get into it too much though, we want you guys to hear what XQC had to say about it.
Bitch, on my off weeks, okay? On my off weeks, I stream about 1.5 times the amount that you would work at a full-time job, bitch. Don't give me a part-time streamer, bitch. Fuck you. Don't come. Who is you? Who is you? Who is you? Who is you? Bitch, you probably don't even go to all your classes, okay? At your fucking part-time school, 8-10 hours a week. Fuck you. Stream is a job. Yeah, I'm just gonna say it. There's a big stigma around streaming. People say, oh, dude, hey, yo, streaming is easy. It's not a job. I'm gonna tell you how it is. It's not only a job. It's fucking harder than a job. Shit is real fucking work, man. Shit is hardcore, dude. Shit is actually office 9 to 5. I spend them off stream thinking, theoretically. I'm creative-ling off stream just to go, and when I go live, boom. It's fucking nuts. I got all my.
So as you can see, he kind of went on a little bit of a rant. Someone had actually basically messaged in the chat saying that you're a part-time job, you're just a streamer, like it's not that much, it's not that big of a deal, it's not that hard.
Which is a common stigma. I will say, streaming is often underrated. It's usually looked down upon by mainstream media. You're just sitting down in a chair, you're playing video games for an audience. It is often underrated, I would say, when it comes time for being an occupation.
But I think, this also does bring you back to the idea of hard, right? So you have people who, maybe if you are a police officer or if you have some sort of even construction job, that might be very physically hard. It's very physically demanding.
It's very physically exhausting.
Yeah, exactly. So that is, I would classify that as hard, but there's different levels and varieties of hard, especially when it comes to the workplace. But then you think of a streamer and they have to be online and entertaining for hours on end. And not only that, they do get a lot of backlash, right?
A lot of toxicity, a lot of hate. You see a lot of things. So maybe that's more of a mental kind of hard. Like, you have to have a mental fortitude to be a top streamer. And I think at the very root of this, what XQC is trying to get at is not the fact that streaming is harder than a real job. I think personally how I took this, because I feel like people are going to get very angry, I feel like the root of his argument was the fact that it's underrated and people don't realize the work that goes in behind the scenes as well, which I don't even think he does himself justice in explaining. Like, he is streaming at least 10 hours a day. The dude has more streaming hours than anyone on the Twitch platform. Most people, myself included, would not want to be streaming that often. And then you have to mention all the other businesses around his stream, all the content, all the social media platforms, his employee and his team around that, all the business deals and sponsorships that he also coordinates. It is very impressive the amount of work that he gets done whilst also being on stream most of the time, but you're never going to get a good response if you compare streaming to a real job. Like, you're just not going to beat the public opinion on that.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is, think about it, and it's like, people would look at your job and be like, well, that's easy, you make a video. But here's the thing. Some parts of it, yes, are probably easier than you maybe being a cashier, even at a fast food place. But then again, people don't see the toll of, Twitter hate, or, when people are constantly asking you for everything and anything under the sun. Like, there's just so much more behind the scenes, and when you're not on camera, your job is still going on constantly. And I think that's another version of hard, because if you are in the social media realm or on any social media platform, you have to be on it nonstop.
But that also could be applied to real jobs too, because real jobs
True,
don't
like an
always
on-call doctor. Or
real
something
jobs
like
don't
that.
always stop 9 to 5 either. So at the end of the day, what I'm going to take from this is a non-argument. Like, you can't make this argument, because everyone who takes part in this argument is going to have their own perspective on it. I understand where XQC was coming from. I don't think it's an argument he's going to win, but if you compare him as a streamer to only other streamers, his work effort, I mean, it just speaks for itself. So at the end of the day, we don't want to, ruffle any feathers. We think it just sparks a great debate. XQC says streaming is harder than a real job. And we got a single question for all of you guys.
What do you think?
Okay, bye.
Bye.